Hey, it's Will. I hope y'all are doing good. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. You heard my post about thankfulness, thanksgiving, gratitude. I mean, I really do preach that because I really do believe it. So that's all I'll say about that. I'm grateful just to be here at all. I'm grateful you're here with me. Just wanted to put out this as December rolls in and the days are shorter and this COVID thing is still going on. You know, we talk every day about there's going to be a vaccine, maybe by the middle of next year, this, that, and the other. We have to carry on. We just do. I mean, I know I got to carry on. And so my songwriting with Soldiers work is ramped up. I've talked about that a lot. Put out Spring Break. That's been a really good experience for me to have those new songs and also new versions of some old songs and my own versions of songs I wrote with other people out there. So I'm glad I made that record. And Shamika Copeland's record came out, so that was a really good thing. Mojo Magazine, probably my favorite music magazine ever besides like Rolling Stone back in the 70s, named Uncivil War Blues Album of the Year, so super honored. I'm pretty sure they named the last record we made America's Child Blues Album of the Year. So Mojo likes Shamika. I produced Shamika, so I get to tag along for the ride and co-write 7 of the songs on this new record. So I'm super happy about that. Wanted to talk to you about, I posted, anybody want to do a Zoom? I did have 2 people say they wanted to, so maybe I'll just do one with those 2 people. And I know we're all sick of doing Zooms, but at the same time, it is intended to be a Zoom where we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I was going to just talk about creativity and writing and being a creative person, because one of my creative outlets is not just writing, but it's also just coming up with guitar parts on the fly in the studio for people. I do it for myself, I do it for other people, and it's one of my great joys in life. It's a whole other language besides the words of a song. The music is the other part of the song. And so anything anybody wants to talk about in that Zoom, we can. Or just have a conversation about what's going on, if anybody wants to do that. But I'm happy to do like a seminar on creativity, or even on just songwriting or production or anything like that. So just putting it out there for y'all. I want to do a live stream. I have been frustrated with the audio quality, even though I have upped my game. I'm hooked up with Ethernet. I'm using my interface. I'm using these really expensive, nice microphones, and it sounds really good on the headphones. And I've got a pretty fast internet connection. It should be technically fast enough. So I'm working on that, and I'm going to schedule that live stream here in the next couple of weeks, and maybe double up and do more than one in a month, because I know I've been slow doing them lately. It's just been the holidays ramping up and songwriting with Soldiers work ramping up, and I took on a production job producing some friends of mine's album, and it's turned into a rather complex piece of work. It's a really ambitious album, and it's going to be great, but it's because it's ambitious and it's a large chunk of music, it's taken a lot of time. And I'm leaving on December 4th, and I'm only gone till the 9th, but it's 2 Songwriting with Soldiers retreats in one. So that'll take me a couple of days to recover from, and then basically we're into the holidays. So, but please check out the things I've been posting lately, because I posted several songs, some really cool live stuff, and some new songs and podcast, and I hope you dig it. So I just wanted to sort of get together with you on this video and just say, I'd like to do the Zoom if you're interested. And if only those 2 folks are interested, I'll do it with those 2 folks. And I'm planning to do a live stream. Maybe I'll do a live Zoom where I play songs and we maybe can talk a little bit. If anybody's interested in that. I mean, Zoom is a weird thing, and everybody's probably had to do it for work. I know I have to do it a lot for work, so it gets a little old, but it's also kind of cool. So if you want to chime in, chime in. If you don't, don't. I wanted to tell you about this new Red Dirt Boys record that we did last week, which was, the week of Thanksgiving. On Tuesday and Wednesday, we recorded 10 new songs. We worked at the Blackbird Academy, and that's where I recorded I Like It Down Here. And so what happens there is you go into Blackbird Studio, which is one of the world's great studios, and you record for 2 full band days, bring the band in and record, and the students basically set up the microphones, and they get taught how to, record in Pro Tools and maybe do a few edits and things like that, and learn the ropes of Pro Tools during a live actual professional session. And what we get is a new album. So it's pretty cool. And so we went in and recorded 10 songs, 5 of them by Phil Madera and 5 of them more or less by me. And I picked only one song I've done before, and that's Digging a Ditch with a Spoon, which I wrote with Milton Brown, and it's on Spring Break. I love that sort of old-timey folk country blues version of it with but I also wanted to do it like an Alan Toussaint production of a Lee Dorsey record, like Working in a Coal Mine or Ride Your Pony. So it's like so it's got that 1965 New Orleans R&B groove, so that's really fun. And I did Dirty Saint, which is a song that's out on Shamika's record, but that was Brian Owings' request that we record that song, because it's got that same Dr. John, Toussaint, Little Feat, meters kind of feel. It's got the piano roll lick. And it's got that super cool second line feel. A lot of that on this record. And I Got a Passion for It, which is a song I wrote for my friend Andrew, who's got a music podcast that he wanted a theme song for. So one day I just wrote what I thought might be a good theme song, which is just about my passion for music. And I thought somebody that has a music podcast that's about his passion for music might be interested. And so it really has, to me, is inspired by Ry Cooder. And so Ry Cooder, 1970s kind of Ry Cooder, stuff that's really influenced by all that music, New Orleans, the blues, gospel, slide guitar, and a real funky feel. So, and it talks about how music saves my life. I got a passion for it. Simple enough. Not that hard of a song to write, but you have to work on it to make it not seem like a corny ideal. So it turned out great because we had such a great groove. And I think the students at Blackbird Academy got to witness a band that's a fully a band of equals, working on how to do a song that could go one of several ways. So we tried it in this real straightforward, almost like Bob Dylan way. And, when I paint my masterpiece kind of thing. And then we tried it in a real second line New Orleans way. And then we just happened on this hybrid of like the Ry Cooder, like super dirty, small amplifier, slide guitar, open tuning, but playing almost Mark Knopfler finger rhythm and slide. And then the rhythm section playing this New Orleans rhythm. And then with Phil Madera just going crazy on the piano, on the big grand Steinway piano. So that was super fun. We did a song called I Know You Don't Care About Nothing. And that is really about somebody who's just given up. And I used one of the stories was another New Orleans influence, but this is more about language and lyrics. A story about a famous New Orleans musician who an artist friend went to visit back in the early 80s, and went to visit this famous New Orleans musician and got ushered into the house, and then ushered down a hallway, and then ushered into a bedroom. And there was the famous New Orleans musician with like a do-rag on his head, and he had a gun in one hand and a Bible, and he had like a bottle of Thunderbird between his legs. He was like laid up in bed with a gun and a Bible, all laid up with a rag tied around his head. So I put that in my song. I thought that was good. So it's about somebody who's just given up and doesn't care anymore. But that's a good way to play like a raucous blues rock song, because it can be like, I just don't care anymore. I'm letting go. And then there's a song on there that's real near and dear to my heart, called Walking on Air, and it's really a fantasy of my father in the afterlife, where there's always gumbo on the boil, and there's Conecuh County sausage on the fry, and there's coffee, sausage, and biscuits for breakfast served up at the Lord's great banquet in heaven. And everybody leaves him alone when the ball game's on, but at night afterwards, when it's time to dance and the band's playing, all the women line up to take a chance. So it's a little fantasy about heaven, what heaven would be to my father, Walking on Air. And so Phil's got some great songs. He's got a song called Weed, which is, you can imagine what that's about. No Good Deed Goes Unpunished. A song called King, which is, of course, a tribute to Martin Luther King Jr. And a song called Clean House, which is, it's time to clean house, just like the Lord said I should. And like a jazz, Mose Allison kind of jazz. And then a song called By Now, and that's about, we should know better by now than to treat each other the way we do. So classic ideas, songs about spirituality, how we ought to treat ourselves better, having a good attitude about hard times, digging a ditch with a spoon. I got a passion for it, talking about how much we love music and how much it means. I know you don't care about nothing about somebody who just doesn't care anymore. King, always welcome to have a song about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in my opinion. And it's a great one. No Good Deed Goes Unpunished, kind of a dark, sinister look at how we treat each other. Sometimes. Walking on Air, tribute to my dad, and a fantasy about what heaven must be like for my dad. And Weed. You know, thank God for weed. I'm totally straight, but thank God for weed. So anyway, and the purpose of me talking about this is to say that I had kind of forgotten that we were going to do those sessions, and Phil emailed me, so everybody on for next Tuesday and Wednesday, and I was like, I thought, what's up next Tuesday and Wednesday? So I dug around in my emails, and I was like, oh, we're making a new album. Okay, so I had to dig around for some songs. But that was interesting because, as you see, I came up with 5 songs that I had already written, and it was a great process for me to do, and it reminded me to do this. I went through my phone's voice memos. I went through my email. I went through all my lyrics. I went through my iTunes, where I've saved my voice messages to iTunes and convert them to MP3s. So it forced me to look at what I have. And of course, you guys know I'm a pretty prolific songwriter, but I still haven't even released any of these Songwriting with Soldiers songs. So I feel like I've stored up this like savings account of songs, and I'm not trying to save up songs. I mean, you see I do a Patreon in order to share songs, but if you're open-minded about your own music and you take a good hard look at songs, and you know, experience is invaluable. I have a lot of experience, and I experience on a constant daily basis. So sometimes when I'm trying to impart my experience on someone else's project, like my friend's project I'm working on right now, they don't always know exactly what I'm talking about when I make these references. So like, well, we worked it up and we changed the feel like 3 times. Well, that's because the Red Dirt Boys is made up of 4 of the best musicians I know. And I mean, I'm lumping myself in, but when I get to play with Brian Owings on drums and Chris Donahue on bass, it elevates me to another level. I mean, I'm a pretty good musician and I'm a pretty good songwriter, but it elevates my songs to have a good groove so that the listener hears this great groove. It elevates my playing to have to play with them. And the same with Phil. I mean, Phil's a great player, but he gets elevated too. So it's a good marriage of the creative types, me and Phil with our own, just free to like, yeah, here's some songs I wrote, let's play them. So we're brave in that way. But then you've got Brian and Chris who are willing to play it the way we show it to them, but they're also brave enough to say, hey, how about we try it this way? And then Phil and I are open enough to say, yeah, let's do it that way. So we've learned in the Red Dirt Boys to defer to the rhythm section and say, what do you guys want to play? I mean, think about this. If the rhythm section is happy and they're a great rhythm section, so you got a great rhythm section that's happy, it's going to be awesome. Imagine the Stones without Charlie Watts. He doesn't always look happy up there, but he plays like he's happy. And he makes the audience happy. He makes those booties shake. And so that's what we're trying to do too. Trying to write good words, write memorable melodies, and make it groove. Okay. That is the anatomy of how to make an album with only a couple of days notice when you forgot you were going to make a record. Sometimes that's better for me because I'm an improviser. Planning actually makes me have anxiety. Improvising, I'm totally comfortable with. But I've gotten better on this Patreon. I'm posting things ahead of time so that on the first day of the month, things pop up. You know, you got a podcast, you got a new song, and it's good for me. So thank you for providing me with this platform of creativity and sort of an organized way to present it. And I hope you listen to my new songs. I hope you've listened to Shamika's record. I hope you listen to Spring Break and anything else you're digging. Let me know what you're thinking about. Thank you. Take care.